Today we're going to be looking at learning target 4D, which is identifying if a linear function is a direct variation. To start, let's look at the definition. Y varies directly as x means that y must equal kx, where k is the constant of variation. It's very similar to the equation you already know, which is y equals mx plus b. Another way you can write this equation is that k has to be equal to y divided by x. Let's look at some examples of direct variation, starting with tables. We note that x is increasing by 1 and y is increasing by 2. If we want to find out what the constant of variation is, all we need to do is take our y values divided by our x values in order to figure out what k is. So in each situation, if we take 12 divided by 6, 14 divided by 7, or 16 divided by 8, they all end up with the answer of 2. Therefore, k must equal 2. And your equation would be y is equal to 2x. Let's look at another example. Here, we notice that x is decreasing and y is decreasing. In order to figure out what our direct variation, the constant k, would be, we again just do our division, y divided by x. In each case, when we divide, we end up that k is equal to 3. So our equation in this case would be y is equal to 3x. Another example here, we notice that x is decreasing and y is decreasing. In order to figure out what our k value is, that constant of variation, we again do our division, and we end up that k is equal to 1/4. Therefore, our equation would be y is equal to 1/4 x. Here's one for you to try. What would be our constant of variation, or our k value in this case? In order to solve this, you simply do your y divided by x, which in each case, no matter where you do it on that table, you end up with an answer of -2. So if I were to write an equation here, it would be y equals -2x. Would this be an example of a direct variation? If so, tell what the k value is. Yes, this is a direct variation. Our k value would be 6/4, which can be reduced to 3/2, and our equation would be y equals 3/2 x. What about in this instance? Yes, this is a direct variation. To find our k value, we again do that y divided by x, and we get 5/2. So our equation would be y equals 5/2 x. In this case, this would not be a direct variation. Each time you do that division of y divided by x, you end up with different k values. Therefore, this cannot be a direct variation. Which of the following of these tables would be a direct variation? In this case, table A is a direct variation. Each time you do your y divided by x, you end up with the answer of -2. With B, C, and D, you do not end up with that constant k value. What would be the equation to describe this situation? In each case, when you do y divided by x, you end up with 1/2. Therefore, your equation would be y equals 1/2 x. Now let's find some unknown values. We're going to use that same equation, y equals kx, or k equals y divided by x, in order to find a missing value. In this case, we just take 2 steps. The first step is to figure out what our k value is, with the piece of the table that's known. When we do 28 divided by 7, we get an answer of 4. In order to find that missing piece, we simply take 52 divided by 4, and we get that x value is equal to 13. Let's try it again. Again, we have to first figure out our k value, so we do 3 divided by 9, which is 1/3. In order to find that next piece, we're going to plug in 1/3 for our k value, 40.5 into the x value. And when we do that multiplication, we get that y would have to equal 13.5. Again, let's find that y value. We know it's a direct variation, so we do our y divided by x, which gives us a negative 1.2. Plug in our x value into the equation, and we get that y is equal to 9.6. Now let's look at it for helping us with story problems. First thing we need to do is find the points in the table. So we know that with 8 gallons of gas you can travel 290 miles. We want to know how many gallons of gas it would take to travel 400 miles. So just like the problems before, we're going to set up our direct variation. So we're going to go ahead and divide what we do know. 290 divided by 8 gives us 36.25. If we then use the equation to find the unknown, we do 400 divided by 36.25, and we get that that x value has to be 11.03 gallons of gas. Let's look at another situation. First thing we're going to do is find the points. We know that for 5 hours you make $29.75, and we want to know how much money you'd make for 30 hours. So again, we're going to find the constant by taking the 29.75 divided by 5, and we get that our k value is 5.95. We're then going to plug in what we know into our equation, y equals kx. So we do 5.95, which is our hourly rate, times the 30 hours, and we get that y would equal $178.50. We know the equation y equals mx plus b, and with the direct variation, y will equal kx. So in order for that to be true, we know that m has to equal k, and that our y-intercept has to be 0, has to go through a special point, which is the origin. So which of these graphs is a direct variation? First graph on the top left is not, because it does not go through the origin. Second graph would be, because it does go through the origin. Third graph would not be, and that fourth graph would not be either. What about these 4 graphs? Again, recall that in order for it to be a direct variation, it has to go through the origin. So that first graph would not be, second graph would be, third graph would be, and the fourth graph would not be.